In 2019, 65 feet beneath the earth in a pitch-black Mexican cave, scientists discovered something no one had ever seen: a blind, venomous centipede living in total darkness. For thousands of years, it had crawled in silence. Never noticed, never imagined. And that's the thing about this world. It hides mysteries in its deepest oceans, darkest forests, and even under our feet. Real creatures that once seemed impossible until we found them. This is the follow-up to part 1 of our series, where we explored 7 mythical creatures that might be real. But in part 2, we're going even deeper, uncovering 7 entirely different creatures, each with their own terrifying stories. So what else have we dismissed as fantasy simply because we haven't found it yet? Let's find out. Number 7, Baba Yaga. Do you remember the mother in the Tangled movie, the one who locked Rapunzel away in a tower, or the witch who handed Snow White that shiny red apple? Well, those witches might have been inspired by someone much older, much darker, the Baba Yaga. She's not your typical wicked witch. Sometimes she's a cannibalistic crone who traps children into her hut and fries them for dinner. Other times, she's the mysterious old woman who helps the hero find their way through the forest. In a Reddit thread about witches, some Polish users shared something odd. They claimed they'd seen or felt the presence of Baba Yaga near them. Even her name drips with unease. Baba is a Slavic word for grandmother, sometimes affectionate, sometimes mocking. But Yaga? That's where the shadows gather. Some scholars link it to ancient words for horror, pain, and plague. In Old Czech, it described an evil female spirit, and in Sanskrit, it hints at a serpent. But that's not it, because visually, she's worse than the stuff of nightmares. She's an old bent woman with a long, crooked nose, warts, missing teeth, and tangled gray hair. She lives deep in the forest, in a rickety wooden hut that stands on giant chicken legs. Her house spins and stomps through the woods, only revealing its door when needed. And how does she get around? Not on a broomstick like Western witches. Baba Yaga flies through the sky in a giant wooden mortar. She rows with a pestle like an oar and sweeps away her tracks with a broom made of silver birch. Some tales even say she's not just one witch, but a trio of sisters, all called Baba Yaga. So next time you wander into the woods and the wind changes and the trees fall quiet, don't look back. Baba Yaga might be behind you. Number 6, Siren Head. Have you ever heard your name being called, but no one was there? You look around, the voice sounds familiar, maybe a friend, a parent, or even your own, but the woods are empty. That's how the Siren Head traps. He's a giant creature about 40 feet tall with a thin, dried-up body that looks like a dead tree. Instead of his head, he has 2 huge sirens. No eyes, no mouth, just the sirens that he uses to speak. If he's trapping you, you might hear emergency alerts, static, strange garbled noises, or worse, the voice of someone you thought you lost. But if you hear it, it might already be too late to run. Siren Head is known for hiding in forests or abandoned places. He can stand completely still, blending in with the trees or telephone poles. He waits for someone to walk close, someone who won't notice until it's too late. Some people believe he uses echolocation like bats, sensing things through sound. And even when he's asleep, his sirens still give off a low, creepy hum. Most people think Siren Head was born in 2018 when horror artist Trevor Henderson first posted its image online, but for Trevor, that wasn't the beginning. Later, the artist shared something even more disturbing, an ancient cave painting that looked exactly like Siren Head, dated to nearly 40,000 years ago. He wanted the world to know that Siren Head might have been around long before cities, electricity, even writing. And the strangest part? Even in that ancient artwork, its head looks like it's made of speakers and metal. But speakers weren't invented until the late 1900s. So how can something ancient look so modern? Well, we definitely do not know everything about the dark corners of this world. Number 5, Sea Eater. In 1909, a passenger steamship vanished off the coast of South Africa. The SS Waratah, carrying 200 people, was halfway through its journey from Durban to Cape Town when it disappeared. The sea was calm, there was no distress signal, no wreckage, and strangely, no bodies, just silence. Some say it was a sudden storm. Others blame the design flaws. But along the South African coast, sailors whisper a different name, the Sea Eater. The Sea Eater is massive. Some say it's the size of a bus. Others believe that's an understatement. More detailed reports found in obscure forums and survival accounts claim that it's over 15 kilometers long, with arms made from the remains of sea creatures. It's basically a dark, shapeless mass in the water, with a smooth skin like a seal's and a mouth so wide that it stretches across half its head. It has no eyes, and yet it always knows exactly where you are. It can move at terrifying speeds, pushing off the ocean floor with its massive limbs, but it doesn't hunt like a predator. It doesn't rage or roar. It just rises, takes the boat, and disappears. The water stays calm with no trace, as if the sea itself decided to take something back. The first modern sighting was in 1923 in Daytona Beach. A woman named Evelyn Mary said she saw a moving mountain in the water. She described it as a giant water worm with arms. She ran away, but before it disappeared, she saw huge chunks falling off its body, chunks the size of houses. A few hours later, a massive wave hit the coast. Legends say the sea eater suffers from something called crumbling. It falls apart if too much of its body comes out of the water. Others think it's not even a creature, just the ocean itself taking shape. Whatever it is, no one really knows. The ocean is huge. Most of it is still unexplored. Number 4. The El Silbon. Unlike the creatures we've talked about so far, this one isn't exactly a creature. It's a spirit, an angry one filled with pain and hunting for revenge. Legends say El Silbon roams the open plains of Venezuela and Colombia, especially the llanos, on stormy nights. Locals believe he walks endlessly at night, tall and thin, with a bag slung over his back. What's inside that bag? It's the bones. Some say they're the bones of his victims. Others claim they belong to his father, the man he murdered long ago. No one agrees on what he looks like. Some say he's a ghost, some say he's a demon, but all the stories agree that he whistles a chilling tune, a tune with high note, low note, then middle note, over and over again. But the twisted part is that his whistle works in reverse. If it sounds like he's nearby, you still have time. If it sounds distant, he's already watching you. The legend begins with a spoiled, violent boy raised without consequences. One day, he demanded his father to hunt a deer. When the man failed, the boy flew into a rage and murdered him. Not just that, he gutted him, cooked his liver and organs, and fed them to his mother. When she found out, she cursed him. His grandfather beat him nearly to death, tied him to a tree, and released rabid dogs on him. Finally, he scattered his ashes across the plains, but El Silbon didn't stay dead. Since then, he's been wandering, forever cursed to carry the bones of those he kills. Some say he counts them, one by one, outside people's windows late at night. If no one hears him counting, death comes by morning. His favorite prey is said to be the drunk men and abusive fathers, or anyone who reminds him of his own sins. Many claim to have heard him, especially after storms or during heavy winds. In the old tales, only 3 things can protect you from him: a dog's bark, as he hates dogs, likely because of how he died; a whip, which is the same tool his grandfather used on him; and oddly, spicy chili. Some say he fears it because his mother poured it into his wounds as part of the curse. Even today, families in rural areas teach their children to recognize the whistle, just in case. Because if you're ever alone on a quiet night and you hear a slow, eerie whistle in the distance, you'd better pray it sounds close. Number 3. Manananggal. The 5th creature in our video is the Manananggal. According to legends, the Manananggal can separate her body in half. She leaves her legs behind as her upper torso grows leathery wings and takes to the night sky. Her name comes from the word tanggal, which means to remove or to separate. She's most often seen as a beautiful woman by day, but once night falls, she transforms into a predator unlike any other. Her upper half detaches and flies off with her internal organs dangling beneath her. Folklore says the Manananggal feeds on sleeping pregnant women, using a long, needle-like tongue to suck out the fetus or drink blood. Others claim she targets lovers, abandoned grooms, or even newborn children, always striking when they're most vulnerable. But her greatest weakness lies in what she leaves behind. While her upper body hunts, her lower half stands exposed and defenseless. If someone finds it and sprinkles salt, ashes, garlic, or acid on the torso, it prevents her from reattaching. And if she doesn't return to her full form before sunrise, she burns and dies. Stories of the Manananggal are most common in the Visayan regions of the Philippines, especially Capiz, Iloilo, and Bohol. Even today, some locals leave salt near their doors or windows just in case she appears. Number 2. Minotaur. Imagine a creature so huge and terrifying it had to be locked away in a giant maze under a king's palace. Half man, half bull, and always hungry for humans. This is the Minotaur, and his story comes from ancient Greece, and it's one of the oldest and creepiest legends still told today. According to the myth, the Minotaur was born from a curse. King Minos of Crete prayed to the sea god Poseidon and asked for a sign to prove he should rule. Poseidon sent him a beautiful white bull and expected Minos to sacrifice it. But Minos liked the bull too much, so he kept it and sacrificed a regular one instead. This angered Poseidon. As punishment, he made Queen Pasiphae, Minos' wife, fall in love with the bull. She ended up giving birth to a strange, terrifying creature, half man, half bull. That was the Minotaur. King Minos didn't want the world to know about the creature, so he asked an inventor named Daedalus to build a massive maze beneath his palace. It was called the Labyrinth, and it was so complex that no one could ever escape it. That's where the Minotaur was locked up. But the story gets darker. After a war with Athens, Minos forced them to send 14 people, 7 boys, and 7 girls, every 9 years to Crete as a punishment. These young people were thrown into the labyrinth and left to be hunted by the Minotaur. None of them ever made it out. Some believe the Minotaur was just a myth, a story to explain old rituals or strange ruins. But here is the creepy part. In the real palace ruins of Knossos, archaeologists found narrow hallways, bull carvings, and ancient artwork showing people jumping over bulls, almost like a real-life version of the legend. People to date feel bad for the Minotaur as they believe its crime was literally being born. Number 1. Skinwalker's shapeshifting. The idea that something or someone can change its form at will is not just exclusive to one culture. In the Bible, even Satan is said to disguise himself as an angel of light. In Islamic lore, a jinn has the ability to take on human or animal forms, but in the American Southwest, shapeshifting takes on a darker name, the Skinwalker. Between 1936 and 1944, an anthropologist named Clyde Kluckhohn lived among the Navajo people and documented over 100 accounts of this being in his book, Navajo Witchcraft. According to this book, skinwalkers, or Yinaldlushi, in Navajo culture are said to be witches who have gained the terrifying ability to transform into animals. But they're not just any witches. These are people who have committed the most unforgivable acts, like killing a close relative, to earn such powers. It's not magic born from wisdom or ancient rites. It's dark, twisted, and rooted in pain. The legend says that once someone becomes a skinwalker, they can take the shape of any creature they desire. Wolves, coyotes, owls, even other humans. But no matter what form they wear, something always feels off. Their eyes don't match the body. Their movements seem wrong. And their presence brings a deep sense of fear, like your body knows something's not right before your mind does. What makes the skinwalker so terrifying is that it's not just a story. Many people, especially in Navajo communities, believe in them deeply. Many stories tell of people hearing knocks at their windows late at night, only to find nothing but paw prints in the dirt. Strange creatures are seen standing upright, watching from the tree line before darting into the shadows. And if someone suddenly falls ill, some Navajo believe it could be the work of corpse powder, blown into the victim's face by a skinwalker, leaving them weak, confused, and cursed. Our world was once home to creatures pulled straight from legend. Maybe what we call myth is just memory wearing a mask. So the next time you hear a story that feels too strange to be true, ask yourself, what if it is? If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, like, share, and subscribe, because the next tale might be even stranger.